Rude lady thinks she can eat for free and leave. Now banned from our store. Hey there. Back with another weird story. I'm on mobile so formatting blah. Also, kinda long story, but worth it. Backstory, there's a lady who will come into our store, usually around noon, with 4 annoying and loud, misbehaving children. Of course, she's completely oblivious to all of this. Yay. She would pack all of them into the cart, pick out some sort of produce, apples, bananas, oranges, etc., and give it to them to hold, and the kids would eat all of it. Then she would come up to the register and give me the whole, oops, sorry, I didn't even see that they did that. I would call my manager and basically ask, WTF am I supposed to weigh? And usually they would either get the same amount of whatever produce, and she would complain that she'd not gotten that much, or mine were way smaller. So my manager would just wave it off and let it go. Today, she didn't get away with it because my manager and I were in a bad mood. I was quietly working at my register when I heard the parade of obnoxious children run into the store with the lady on her phone completely ignoring them. Shocker. She piled all of them into the cart and headed straight for the produce. I continued working at my register and lost track of her until she came up to my register. She huffed and puffed at the little old lady in front of her writing a check while all of her children were screaming in her cart. She's still on the phone and I hear the rude lady talking semi-quietly on her phone. Rude lady, yeah, he'll be home soon. There's a slow-ass hag in front of me. Thankfully, the little old lady, who is literally maybe the nicest person I've ever met, doesn't hear that well, so she'd missed RL's comment. After hearing that, I purposefully take my damn sweet time processing her check and asking her how her grandchildren are doing. I finish bagging her groceries and set them in her cart. As she's pulling away, rude lady decides she's not going fast enough and actually pushes her out of the way with her cart. When the little old lady turns to look at her, she smiles smugly. Rude lady, sorry. The little old lady frowns and walks away. Now, the real fun begins. Before she says anything, I notice that each child has banana peels in their laps and the youngest has banana all over their face. There's even a peel inside, rude lattice purse. Rude lady, my kids ate these. Here. She proceeds to grab and dump all of the peels onto my register and starts to leave. Me, ma'am, I need some sort of payment. You can just leave after eating all of these. RL turns and glares at me. She backs up a little. Rude lady, just weigh the peels or something. I don't have time for this. I glare back at her. Me, even if I was allowed to do that, I'd need all of the peels. I gesture to the one in her purse. Gross. She throws it at me. Rude lady, erase your peel. Now, weigh them. Her face is getting angrier by the minute. Me, he'll have to call for a manager. That's when I notice the organic sticker on all of the peels, which means it will be more expensive. $1.29/LB in fact. She slams her hand on my register as I'm about to call. Rude lady, this is ridiculous. Just weigh my hand or something. As she's pressing her hand down, she's also squeezing the peels as hard as she can, making a huge mess of peel and banana mush. I've had it. Me, manager to the front. Please. The manager thankfully was not far and came rushing up. Manager, what can I do for you? He sees it's this particular lady and the mess on my register. Before he can open his mouth again, she wails at him. Rude lady, your cashier has been so rude to my family and I. All we want to do is pay for our bananas and go. She's being incredibly difficult and even made this disgusting mess. I'm fuming at this point and my manager is getting a little ticked off knowing this lady is a liar because I would never do something this childish. Rude lady, what are you going to do about this for us? I turn to my manager. Me, her and her children ate an entire bunch of bananas, tried to leave without paying, and when I called her out on it, she told me to weigh her hand and squish these peels. The manager nodded. Manager, go ahead and weigh her hand. Whatever it comes out to, she can pay that. Then, she's no longer welcome in our store. Of course she's shocked and stammering, trying to claim that I lied about the entire story and it was nothing like that. Obviously my manager was having none of it and told her to put her banana-covered hand back on the scale. She did and pressed as hard as she could. Well, she's not too smart and forgot how scales work. Shed pressed it down and it came up as about 30 pounds. Me, and your total is going to be $38.54. Will you be using cash or card? She was completely outraged and started yelling at my manager and I calling us crooks. Ironic, and that she'd never pay something so ridiculous. My manager threatened to call the police and report her for theft if she didn't. She screamed some more and threw $2.20s at me. I gave her the change, which she snatched out of my hand and continued to scream and curse down the exit and out the door. Me, thank you for shopping, have a nice day. Never be rude to people in small retail shops. When I was 16, I worked for my uncle. He was a tailor, but also had a clothes store next door to his main shop. He let me run the clothes store, which basically involved keeping it clean, serving customers, and displaying stock. Here on the business side of it, I was paid to essentially sit there all day. It was a pretty quiet store in a quiet area, so it was a pretty cruisy job, great for school holidays. Whenever we got new stock in, I would have to put the price tags on myself. Most of the clothes we sold were men's office workwear, suits, shirts, trousers, and the like. Average price for a suit was around $150 to $200. One day, I had a belligerent customer come in. He saw that I was quite young, so he took to bullying me around. He would swear and act very impatient, and would call me slow and stupid. I dealt with rude customers before, but this guy was far too much. To the best of my knowledge, I hadn't done anything wrong. He may have been having a bad day, but to me that doesn't excuse the insults. He had come in quite early, usually we opened at 9, but didn't get any customers until much later. It was rare to get any customers before 11. That morning I had gotten a load of new stock in, and hadn't finished putting on the price tags as it was a huge amount of new stock in. So, because of his rudeness, I decided that I would charge him much, much more. Either he would decide it was too expensive, or we would make a lot more money. He selected 3 suits, and I told him they were $500 for the first 2, with the third being $700. They were actually around $200. We haggled a bit and I sold them for around $350 for this first 2, and $600 for the third. He was quite happy with what he saw as a major victory. I was quite happy I made an extra $700. I told my uncle what happened, and he let me keep a percentage of the money as a bonus. My uncle knew that particular customer and had had issues with him before. Perhaps it wasn't the morally correct thing to do, but it serves to show you shouldn't be rude.
Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe and like.